right, I'm going to start with John because he's been 3 decades with James Cameron, and he knows probably more than anyone. He knows where the bodies are buried and all that. What's the first challenge that you sort of set out when you go, let's go make another one?
What we did after the first movie, and we went away and we identified things that if we were crazy enough to want to do a sequel, that we would need to improve upon. One was the facial performances. We believe that movies are about the close-up. We wanted to come up with a way to do more nuanced, more real performances.
I see you.
So we brought Russell on a year before live action so that he could work with our virtual lighting, and that tool set made a big difference in the film.
It was really great in terms of how much detail I could bring to a scene. When Len and I started testing the Sony Venice, we started testing the dual ISO. I really liked the 2500. Visually, it was more pleasing to me, and I showed this to Jim, and he liked it too. I called Claudio Miranda, who was working with it, and I said, are you using this for any of your visual effects? And he says, I'm basically comping all my effects with the ISO 2500, and he says it's extremely clean. That was the game changer for us because our stages were huge. So that really started to change things for both of us, for Len, because now he's working in a system that is basically not based on a 90-foot candle base, but a 20-foot candle base, which is amazing, especially when you're shooting 3D.
With the 2500 ASA, we were able to use moving lights. On the big tank stage, we had 50 moving lights. If we were shooting 500 ASA, it wouldn't have been that. It would have been giant lights with flags, and it would have taken like 10 times longer to do.
We have to create all the lighting and the texture to match this virtual, very lush and interesting virtual world.
I hear her heartbeat. She's so close.
Basically what the camera allowed us to do was work with lights that we could turn on a dime. We could make those changes much quicker than I could if I was tasked with using heavier lights.
The Venice camera was selected by us in the early days of the production because it was the very best camera out there, and its performance was spectacular. We worked with Sony to actually make a separable imager head from the electronic body of the camera so that we could put it, so I could hand hold it, put it on a Steadicam and things like that. And it worked beautifully, So, we've always had a tight relationship with Sony for, going back 20 years or so in developing these stereoscopic rigs. And so they really helped us, and they helped us put, the most beautiful, most advanced camera in the world into our rigs. And I look forward to, working with Sony again to do that with their new and improved camera systems for the next time we do live action.
Patrick and team built these, multi-access 3D rigs that allowed us, to do handheld shots because we wanted it to have a cinema feel like all of Jim's movies and not be weighted down by the burden of a big heavy camera. And by decoupling it, we could literally have it on a Steadicam, and the person carrying the big technical stuff is 20, 30 feet back of the Steadicam operator.
I saw the movie last night in 2D, and I gotta say, it's fucking masterpiece 3D. It's a great movie both ways, but this, you really see fundamentally the power of 3D. What are some of the challenges for this film in particular?
With Jim, it was the request was a 30-pound handheld rig. The decision was made to use the Venice, and the Rialto was just coming out. I think the Rialto was 3 pounds per, so that's 6 pounds, and we used the MK zooms. That's about 10 pounds, so that gave me 20 pounds to play with. I don't know how we pulled it off, but we did.
The way of water connects all things.
We had the 3D rigs, which is complicated, but we also built 2 major underwater 3D rigs and some small ones and some splash housings.
The cameras allowed us to get rid of strobing, to get rid of that going by that picket fence, because we were able to go to a higher frame rate. We were able to shoot high resolution at 48 frames per second and high dynamic range. We looked at where were we getting that artifact that was hurting the 3D experience. And we chose those shots to do at 48 frames. So there are shots that are at 48, there are shots that are at 24. And that is one of the big advantages of being able to present a high quality 3D image up on the screen.
You hadn't worked with James since Titanic.
Yeah.
What was that like, getting back in that shoe?
Jim invited me in to do some tests in 2017. Literally, it was just like yesterday. I mean, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, okay, this is what we're doing together, and away we went.
It was a great collaboration to watch them get back in sync that way, because Russell's referred to Jim recently as a provocateur.
This is our home!
And Jim, he can provoke Russell and challenge Russell, and then Russell delivers. And that's what he did on True Lies, that's what he did on Titanic, and that's what he did once again here, because what you see up on the screen is this guy's art painting with light.